Hello, beautiful Filipinas. I'm Dane Rose, and this is part 13 of 100 skills that, if practiced, can elevate your success. So let's get started. Number 46 is one of my favorite skills. Ray Dalio is the founder of Bridgewater and Associates, and has run the most successful hedge fund, the top investing companies in the world, for the last 50 years. And he attributes all his success to this skill. Jerry Seinfeld, the writer, producer of Seinfeld, the TV show, again, attributes his success to this skill. Meditation. What is meditation? Well, the first thing it is an altered state. A lot of our normal, rational, logical, hardworking state takes our energy away. But in an altered state, we allow energy to flow through us, to heal us, to love us. We allow ourselves to change into a state, into a frequency in which healing, in which magic, in which miracles happen more easily. So, how do you meditate? You can go for a walk. You can do a painting. You can sing in the shower. You can open up your heart to love and be loved by the whole world. You can pray to God, Goddess, all that is. You can trust to a beautiful, true, a sacred energy to come into you. You can go to a beautiful place in nature and just be still and silent. You can write poetry and allow it to flow through you. There are so many ways to enter an altered state. You can dance, right? You can be present. You can play music, right? It's a natural high that comes from allowing the burdens and the problems of the world to fall away. And a peace that has no words, a peace that has no reason to come in. It's a beautiful place. It's a sacred place. I meditate twice a day, and if I allow, it is the most beautiful part of my day. Now, Jerry Seinfeld says that he would not have succeeded in producing the most popular TV show of all time, Seinfeld, without meditation. Right? Ray Dalio says he would not have succeeded at being the most successful investment hedge fund of all time. So it's a useful skill. Number one. Number two, people have been doing it for thousands of years. Traditional native Filipinas in basket weaving and singing, in dancing and chanting. The modern world has less and less space for meditation, and so we have to create it. Right? How to do it? One, go on to YouTube and type in Healing the Inner Child meditation. Healing shame meditation. Self-love meditation. Go on YouTube right now. You can pause this video. You can have a look, right? Healing the Inner Child. Self-love. Releasing anxiety. Healing depression. How can you be wildly successful if you are miserable? Even if you have lots of money, lots of cars, right? Lots of fame, lots of power, but you are miserable, you are not successful. To be successful is to be happy. Now, money can help increase the security of your happiness. Cars can make it more fun to drive from one place to another. But there are lots of wealthy people who are not happy, and they are not successful, right? Robin Williams killed himself because he was not happy living. He had money, he had women, he had talent, he had fame. He could make people laugh. But he did not enjoy his life. Nobody who is enjoying their life kills themselves, right? So the ultimate success is enjoyment, and meditation can be the most enjoyable part of our day. YouTube videos, doing art, writing poetry, writing a diary, writing your dreams, visualizing golden light, visualizing healing light, praying to God, Goddess, all that is. Opening up to our value. We can listen to guided meditations, or we can guide ourselves. We can look for quiet, soothing music and put headphones in and let all our thoughts fall away. We can do a mantra. This is another form of meditation. A mantra is where you repeat a word such as love, 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 love. And for 20 minutes, you just repeat a word and you allow the energy to flow. That's a mantra type meditation. You can also do breathing meditations, right? Where all you do is you let everything go and breathe in and breathe out. The only thing that is important in a meditation is to shift from an ordinary, worrying, rational state into a different state. A state in which energy, peace, and love flows through us into the world. Please share your meditation stories with me below. Please share links to the meditations that work for you on YouTube. It's exciting to enter this virtual world. Meditation is free. It's 100% safe. If you succeed in finding the right meditation for you, it brings you deep happiness, and it increases your health and your quality of life. Please give yourself this gift as we move on to number 47, friendship. What is a friend? A friend lives by the question, if I were being truly loving to myself, what would I do? If I were my best friend, what would I suggest to me? Now, that's what a friend is. A friend thinks about your well-being, not how to get money from you, not how to have sex with you, not how to get you to do something they want. A friend, the essence of friendship, is enjoying your happiness, your well-being, supporting it. You'd like to move to this other place. If that would make you happy, how can I help? Congratulations. You want to go and do this work, you want to learn this thing. A friend is interested in your long-term happiness and health. That's what gives them pleasure. So when you are a friend to yourself, you ask yourself, if I were being truly loving to myself, what would I do? What would I say? What would I think? What would I feel? And the discipline of being a good friend, right? It doesn't always come natural. The discipline of being a good friend is you write that down. This is what I would advise to my very best friend in this situation. And sometimes we are not a good friend to ourselves. We tell other people to drive safely, but we drive recklessly. We tell other people, be careful, take care of your health, but we destroy our bodies. We're a good friend to another person, but we're not a good friend to ourselves. So friendship begins with being good to ourselves. If we are not a good friend, we have failed to be successful. You cannot be successful while being your own enemy. If you are not your friend, you are your enemy. An enemy is someone who destroys your life, who tells you lies, who destroys your opportunities. And each of us has an enemy inside. We have some part of us who doesn't love ourselves, who destroys what's good in us. We do something good and it tells us we're dumb, we're stupid. We do something dumb and stupid, it says, oh, you're so smart. That's the enemy inside of us. It doesn't know what's good for us, but it gives us advice, right? That's like the stupid relative who's poor, who's bankrupt, who's addicted to drugs, but they give us advice. They know nothing, right? They don't love themselves, but they think we should do what they tell us. So friendship begins with being a friend to ourselves, and we ask two questions. If I were truly being loving to myself, what would I do? What would I say? And you write it down. And then if you're a good friend to yourself, you do it. You say it. Right? And secondly, you ask, if I were being a good friend to someone else, what would I suggest in this situation? You write it down, and then you do it. You take your own advice, and your life will go up. Because a good friend isn't lazy. They don't give advice about something they don't know anything about. Before giving you advice, a good friend does some research and says, 80% of the time, if you make this decision, you make more money. I'd like to encourage you to make this decision. 80% of the time, if you do this, you lose money. Don't do it. 80% of the time, you will lose money. Don't do it. It's a scam. 80% of the time. A good friend, right, gives good advice based on what will make the other person happy, is interested in their happiness, and takes their own advice. This brings us to skill 48, travel inside and out. When we are born in one place, when we live in one culture, when we listen to one family, we have a very narrow point of view. Everyone around us thinks this, says this, does it like this. But the reality, the scientific reality of culture, is that 99% of it is wrong. 99% of it is not the best thing that can be done. It's just what everyone is doing because everyone is doing it. Have you wondered why everyone's doing this? Like in England, they invented this hat. There was a king in England who was very short, and he felt unimportant. And so he created a hat that was this tall. It's called a top hat. And then he wore his hat so that he could feel tall, like everyone else. And of course, he also wear tall shoes. Well, everyone else wanted to copy the king, right? So they all got these ridiculous tall hats. They're very heavy. And in England, the ceiling is very low. And so as they went into the house, the hat fell off. It's ridiculous. The hat is expensive. It gets muddy when it falls off, right? It's heavy. It's hard. If you hang it on the hook, it falls off. But one king didn't want to look short, and so the whole country wore this ridiculous hat for a period of time. Now we look at it and we say that's ridiculous, and nobody wears a top hat. But this is the way culture works. In 10,000 years, 99% of everything that once was the right thing to do, the important thing to do, is now considered ridiculous. If you go back 10,000 years ago, in the Philippines, in the United States, in China, what we're doing today is completely different. But it's just as wrong. 10,000 years in the future, people will look back and they'll say, this is nuts. What were they doing? What? They believed this? They did this? Ridiculous. So understand that when you are stuck in a box of your culture, your family, your country, you're just copying what everyone else is doing, even if it's crazy. There are plenty of things. I live in the United States. There are plenty of things in the United States that are absolutely crazy. But I didn't realize that they were crazy until I went to England, until I went to Canada. Then I came back to the United States and I thought, this is crazy. But how do you know your family is crazy? How do you know your culture is crazy if you don't have experience with anything else? So as you go outside and travel outside of the Philippines, outside of your hometown, outside of your province, you will see there are other ways of doing it. Now, the other way of traveling is to read books, and the other way of traveling is to watch YouTube videos. But one of the most valuable things, if you have the opportunity, is get your passport and spend 3 months in a very different culture. And as you do so, notice what they do over there and what they do in the Philippines. And compare, because if you compare, you will say, oh, I like the way the Filipinos do it. That's a good way. It's better than what America does here. But in another area, you will say, oh, I like what the Americans are doing. It's better than the Filipinos. It's much better in that area. And over here, up, the Filipinos are doing a good job here. But over here, they're crazy. They're crazy. What are they thinking? Driving around with no lights on the wrong side of the road with no motorcycle helmet. These Filipinos, they want to die. What is wrong with them? Why do they want to kill their children? Right? It's crazy. Then you go over here and everyone has a helmet and everyone has lights. Everyone drives on the right side of the road and everyone has a license and they live, right? It's remarkable. So you have to go outside of your culture in order to recognize where you are crazy. Because everyone is crazy. You're crazy, I'm crazy, the Philippines is crazy, America is crazy. But you don't know that until you have a new experience. So make a priority of getting out of the country for 3 months. Now, one of the things that this is outer travel, but you also need to value inner travel. This is where you keep a diary, write down your dreams, meditate, write poetry, paint, sit quietly alone in nature, and notice what comes out from the inside. What are your dreams? What are your values? What are your own ideas? Because all great inventors, if you look at an Elon Musk, for example, everyone told him he was crazy. You're just a guy. Why? You can't have a space company. China has a space company. NASA has a space company. You're just one guy. What do you mean you want to start a private space company? But he saw it in his mind, and he made it a reality. And it's now worth 100 billion US dollars. SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, does more work, puts more objects, more kilograms into space than the entire world combined. China, Japan, right? India, United States, NASA, Russia, none of them together put as much kilograms into space as Elon Musk in 1 year. He's one man. Why? Right? Because he traveled inside. He formed his own ideas, and then he took it out into the world. That's always the way it is. Someone listens inside and does the impossible. If you want to be great, you have to listen inside and listen to that voice that is solid. You have to see things clearly and trust what you see and learn your abilities. Right? So travel inside, travel outside. Now, skill number 49 is something that I do a lot. It's called worst case scenario thinking. Now, there's a lot of benefit and there's a lot of talk of be positive, be positive. But the reality is that the world has lots of things that go wrong most of the time, right? The motorcycle gets a flat tire and you have to use your savings to fix the tire, right? The typhoon knocks off your roof and you have to put a new roof on. So there are bad things that happen all the time. Now, what worst case scenario thinking is let's say you want to start a business. Let's say you'd like to start a sorry store. Well, you have to think about the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, my brother steals my money before I even can buy the inventory, right? Because he's always stealing stuff. So that's a problem. Okay. I don't have enough money to buy all the inventory I want. Right? I buy the inventory and somebody steals it when I'm not looking. Or the neighbors come and ask if I can give some stuff and I don't want to say no, and so I give them free stuff and then I lose money. You have to look at everything that can go wrong. And what is the worst thing that can happen here? Right? The worst thing, I spend 3 years and I make absolutely no money, and then, and I have fights and this and that, right? So you think about the worst thing that can happen and you study it. And then you take action. You think, okay, what could I do that would eliminate that risk? Okay, my brother likes to steal my money. It would be a disaster if he stole all the money from my shop, right? Okay, so I'm going to put the money in a jar and in a special place where only I know. He can't take the money. Okay, is that good? Or what's the worst case scenario about that? Have I thought it through? Is it a waterproof jar? Is anyone going to see me, right? So you have to think a plan for that, right? And then for the next thing, I'm not going to leave the shop unless this person is here to watch my shop. So that's how I'm going to handle this. Once you know what can go wrong, you can take action to see that it goes right. So worst case scenario thinking means you're not surprised when something goes wrong. You have a plan. You prepare. You say, okay, right? I'm going to save some extra money for an emergency. So you put that money aside and invest it or put it in a bank so that it's waiting for you. Right? You say that if you need to make an appointment, the worst case scenario is the bus doesn't come. And then there's heavy traffic. So what's the worst case scenario if you have to be there on time for that appointment, right? Well, then you say, okay, I'll have a friend with a motorcycle. I'll give them some extra money. I'll call them and I'll make a plan that if the bus doesn't come, I'll call my friend and we'll go straight there. And then I have a plan for the worst case scenario. All right. So that completes skill 49 of part 13. Which of these skills are you going to do something about? Which of these skills are exciting for you? What have you learned? What are you going to do with these skills that improve your life? I'm Dane Rose, and enjoy cultivating these skills. Please share your successes in the comments below.